Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AI Minute Mondays, where I take a couple of minutes each Monday to demystify AI for everyone. Today, let's talk about what it takes to really build an AI startup, especially in Seattle, a city which is quietly becoming the most influential AI hubs in the world. And to build a startup here, you need more than just a pitch deck and a dream. You also need grit, you need community, you need clarity. But to actually help us unpack this topic, today I have Bhola Chethri, who's joining me for on AI Minutes. And he is the solutions architect at Broadcom and also a director at AI Collective. So, Bhola, before we begin, can you share a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, of course, Sushi, I'm happy to. So you kind of gave me a nice intro right there. My life has been kind of crazy. So, before I went to college, I actually, I have a twin. He's my brother as well. It's funny, growing up, my family wanted me to become a doctor, right? Like that was the focus growing up. And I love biology and working with people. But when I went to school, I realized I like technology a little bit more and the business side of things. And it's funny, I remember in high school as well, I took my first APCS class and I didn't know what Python was. I didn't know what, really a lot of technology. And I learned quite a bit and that always stuck with me. And, going through college, I realized there is so much opportunity in not just the tech sector, but also just the business sector for a revitalization of stuff, and that has carried. So you gave an intro about, what I do right now. I work at Broadcom as doing solution architecture, more so actually on the VMware side. So back in 2023, we got acquired, VMware as a whole, and I've still, been there working on this product called VCF, which is VMware Cloud Foundation. During that time, I've also been running AI Collective here in Seattle as a co-lead. I have another co-lead as well. And it's funny, we started in 2023, the organization, it was like 200 people in the chapter in SF. It was just small, like it was a talk at someone's house, I remember. And now we're in 100 cities with almost 100,000 members all, in total. And I don't know, it's just kind of shocking. I mean, you've come to one of our events, and so you've seen like it. We've been really lucky because the best analogy I like to make with AI Collective is we're kind of like the Y Combinator without the money. We bring founders, executives, PhDs, even directors to just come in a room and talk about a topic, whether it's a round table or even discuss, what are new breakthroughs or even anything security. I've had the pleasure of also co-founded a startup previously, and currently I'm also pursuing my master's here at UW of Seattle.
Thank you, Bhola. That's a very inspiring journey, especially to hear how you started AI Collective and definitely where it's today. I think all of us founders have benefited from the events organized by AI Collective. So thank you so much for that. Um, So you've done a lot of work around helping young founders and even maybe students who are interested in going ahead with their startup journey. So can you share a little bit today about what are the top things that new founders should focus on, and what is it that they need to get right to be successful in the startup ecosystem here?
Yeah, absolutely. I always like to start with analogies. Like, if you know me, that is my thing. I live by quotes and I love books. One that always kind of rings true in this ecosystem is that if a tree falls in forest and no one is around to hear it, it doesn't make a sound, right? Like, as a founder, I'm sure you can understand that, Suchi, is that your tree is your product, and your vision. If you're building in silence without a presence in your local community or, any, group, even the best idea can land with no impact. Unfortunately, that rings more true to Seattle because, we tend to do the Seattle freeze. You go to SF where everyone's building, talking out loud. Like, you should be willing to talk and scream about your product. If you build in stealth, and there's that stealth thing, right? Like, everyone as a founder, it's like this phase. It's like, you tell your mom it's not a phase, but it really is a phase when you try to build everything in stealth. And it's like, if you're making anything groundbreaking and you're building in stealth, how are people going to know? Anyways, getting back to the main topic here, the three key actions I tell people, and I also consider for myself as well, is show up and contribute. That being the first one. That just means attending meetups, demo days, hacker nights, not just to network, right? To add value or even share lessons. And, as a founder, it's yourself, you're getting feedback real time. You need to go out there and test, not just on clients or customers, but actual other founders as well. I think like there's this battle where you have to understand that your idea might be great, but you don't know that until you go and test. The second one is finding future players early. Your co-founder that you'll need in 2 years or the first enterprise customer might already be in a room that you're in. And that means that, again, showing up and contributing, just because Seattle's AI ecosystem is really tight-knit, relationships do compound. I'm sure, again, I won't mention too much, but I've seen you at a lot of events and you start to recognize faces and people. And it's kind of this Game of Thrones where you have to understand who is doing what industry, and what are they building. My third point is validating relentlessly. So using the community to pressure test your assumptions. Again, talk to real users and iterate before you burn through time or capital. This is really critical, especially if you're trying to bootstrap anything. Um, you know, when you do take cash, right, there's an expectancy of return, whether it's a time or a product or even just cash capital. You don't want to take money if you don't even know what you're going to do with it. So this is really important at any stage. It's really just that mix of presence, right? Building that relationship and continuous feedback that does matter at this stage. So that's kind of my three key actions.
Thank you for those insights. Those definitely make a lot of sense. And especially with all of the events there, it's always been great looking at meeting other founders, getting to hear their stories, and getting to watch them share the pitch. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So thank you for these insights around what founders should be doing. But what's equally important is what they should not be doing.
Yeah.
So, what are the top three mistakes or top key mistakes that you see mostly the new founders do, which they should be avoiding?
Yeah. So my three kind of go into the three I mentioned as kind of antithesis. So again, you don't want to build in a vacuum. Back to the falling tree analogy. If you hide in stealth for years, if no one hears you, you really don't exist. If you talk to anyone who's in VC, they get deal flow all the time. So they're going to see deals coming in their way. You never know if in 2024, a venture capital firm is super interested in bio and you had at that time product market fit, but you didn't know, right? It's like, how will people know? And it's like, sometimes we can get so goose stepped into the stuff we do that we think we're making, groundbreaking technology. But if you build a Ferrari for people that want a Prius,
Yeah.
it's just like it's hard to tell. Anyways, my second point is chasing hype instead of pain. We are in this metaphysical timeline where AI is hot, but technology is, rationally a tool. So if you're solving a fake problem because it sounds impressive or there's just an AI title at the end of it, you are going to run out of steam and capital, not because your product might not, work. It's just that it doesn't really serve a business value. Um, Going back into this field of venture and really startups as a whole, you need to push the boundary. So things like if your TAM is under 1 billion, right? If you're not actually able to emphasize a market need or even, win those first customers, it's going to be a challenge. And really, it's a race against time as well. My third thing is just ignoring the boring stuff. Things like security, compliance, and a clear go-to-market plan are not glamorous by no means, but they're really what investors and enterprise customers look for first, right? If you don't have a business engine that's driving this idea, you can be a saint and you could, again, be making groundbreaking technology, but you have to think about the bottom line, right? Investors want to see that this product, even if it's not, generating revenue today, is there some sort of plan to be profitable? Um, you can be the Reddit of the world and wait like 10 or 15 years to get profit. And that's fine. But at the same time, it's a lot easier when you don't ignore the boring stuff to be able to really succeed.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So thank you, Bola, for sharing these insights with our viewers, especially those early in their startup journey. So to summarize, if you're thinking of launching here, you
Mhm.
have to ask yourself, um, are you ready to build with velocity? Are you ready to build with community and with vision?
Yeah.
So it's not just about the tech stack, it's about the people, it's about the purpose. Are you building something real that someone needs? and the proof, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
in terms of do you have your customers? Do you have a correct addressable market space? What's going to help define your product market fit?
Yes.
So, a lot of good points, Bhola. Thank you for sharing and thank you for joining our show. So
Yeah.
happy to have you here on AI Minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Suchi. I love working with founders and watching them succeed. So it's always exciting to share what I learned. And yeah, I'll see you around in the community. And if anyone else is in the community or wants to come out, AI Collective is hosted in every city at this point, at least the main ones that I know of in North America. We do about 3 to 4 events every day in the US alone. And we're, launching fast. So if you're in New Zealand, Japan, Korea, we'll probably be in a city near you. So yeah.
Yeah, so definitely look out for those AI collective events. And thank you once again.
Yeah.